Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Crypto Club and Digital Asset Weekly Catch Up on Zoom. It is Sunday, the 9th of February 2025, and we don't know exactly what we're going to be talking about this week, which is always the case. Always something for everybody, though, novices and experts alike. The topics we end up talking about depend upon who shows up. Typically, though, we'll be talking about blockchain, maybe layer one, layer two solutions, DeFi, NFTs, ICOs, SCOs, TGEs, lots of three-letter acronyms. If none of that means anything to you, then stick around and great opportunity to learn. If the terms are familiar to you or you're running your own project, then come and join us in a future session and tell us more all about it. Details on how to join the sessions are in the link below. Meanwhile, do remember to click on the like, the subscribe, make comments, or far better, come along to a session. Everyone's well. So with that, let's see who is going to come and join us today. Stuart, welcome back.
Hey Gary, can you hear me?
I can indeed, Stuart. Welcome back. I'm joined
Thank you.
by Gabriella as well, always a regular. Welcome back, Gabriella.
Hello, thank
Yeah.
you.
And likewise, Annie, who's joined us as well. Excellent. Welcome back, Annie.
Thank you, Gary.
And we're joined also by Josh. Hello, Josh. Is Josh going to come off mute, say hello?
Good evening, everyone. How are you? Thanks for having me.
No worries. We'll chat more shortly. Just want to make sure we say hello to everybody. So we've got Thomas as well. Hey, Thomas. Oh, Thomas has almost come off camera, and he is off camera now. Hey, welcome, Thomas. Excellent. Thomas, where are you calling in from today, then?
Actually, upstate New York, about 18 miles from the Canadian border.
Wow. Okay. A bit chilly up there, I guess, at the moment, then.
Yeah, but perfect for Bitcoin mining, cold temperatures and 2-cent electricity.
Excellent. What a great combination. Well, welcome for joining us. I think, is this the first time you've been with us then, Stuart?
Yeah, yes, sir. I actually met James Bowater a number of years ago, and that's how I got on this thread. But I think it's the first Sunday I've ever signed in.
Excellent. Well, welcome aboard, and I'd love to learn a bit more in due course. That'd be great. Excellent, sir. And Josh as well. Is this the first time you've been on one of these calls?
Yes, it is. I met Jamie at an event in London a few months ago and decided to join today for the first time. So yeah, I'm joining in from Lancaster, where electricity is probably a little bit more expensive.
Which is a surprise because we've got a lovely nuclear power station just up the coast from there as well.
Yeah, you're correct. You're correct. Do you know the area or where are you from?
I do indeed, yes. I know the northwest of England quite well, I'd say. Excellent. Well, thanks for joining us, Josh. In fact, while you're on, do you want to share a little bit more about what your interest is, why you're here today? Anything you'd like to learn or share?
Yeah, so I'm here just to learn more, really. I don't really know the format, but yeah, I just want to learn more. I quit my job at Amazon in September, so looking for a business development role in crypto full time, which sort of explains why I'm here. Just wanted to go a bit deeper with some research, and yeah, when Jamie added me, I've seen that you do these weekly ones, so yeah, glad to be here.
Hey, excellent. Well, welcome aboard. We have no fixed format on these sessions. It tends to be open to whatever people want to talk about. If they've got something, a particular passion, or they'd like to learn about something. So sometimes we have novices who ask some really great basic questions. Sometimes we have people who've been in this space for many years. So Stuart, who I'm sure will introduce himself in a moment, many years of experience. Gabriella, out in Spain, always stays quiet, and then when she does speak, she has some great stuff. And likewise with Annie as well, who's I think Annie I've seen coming on leaps and bounds since joining us on these calls each week. I guess Thomas, coming back to the New York then, really curious what your interest is and what your passion is.
Yeah, we Plattsburgh, New York. It's in upstate New York, and it was synonymous with the very first city or town in America that banned Bitcoin mining. So we had actually Coin Mint was one of the first miners that came into the city because we have a 100-year deal with Quebec Hydro, which is why we have such inexpensive power. And it literally got to under 2 cents. So CoinMint moved into upstate New York. And then I got into building out a small mining operation, and then the city very swiftly put a ban or moratorium on a 2-year ban on mining Bitcoin because we were only allocated 100 megawatts of power, and the miners were taking about 10% of that. But because of the brutal cold winters, like -0 Fahrenheit for sometimes a month at a time, when we go over the cap of allocated power, everyone's electric bills in the whole city went up. And so, they quickly put a moratorium in place to ban Bitcoin mining for 2 years. So that was, welcome to the crypto world. It's always a roller coaster.
Excellent. It's interesting as well. So, Stuart, who's on, Stuart, if I remember correctly, you're West Coast, aren't you?
Yes, I'm based just out of San Francisco.
Yeah. So there we go. We've got UK, Spain, East Coast, West Coast, and we've just been joined by Carlos as well, who's very timely because Carlos can say where he's based and what his interest is. This is where Carlos is scrambling to figure out where to hit for the mute button now, or has gone shy. Never mind. Okay, we'll keep rolling then. So, Thomas, is you're interested in actually in the mining side of things then? Because it was interesting that today I noticed on the Bitcoin network, the hash rates I think hit the highest ever today, which shows just how much compute and energy is going into Bitcoin mining at the moment. So is that your kind of space, your interest?
Yeah, I've been running I was personally mining and then running a small company. We had we initially built out a hosting facility because we're sitting on piles of cash to buy miners. So people shipped their miners to our hosting facility and kind of slowly rolled the hosting facility profits into our own miners, and that company has since fractured. But yeah, so to this day, there's a small mining. Again, when you had a megawatt or access to 5 megawatts of power back in 2018 or 2019, you were considered a medium-sized player in the field. But when the boys came in with piles of cash and started buying, 10 million, 50 million, $100 million worth of miners, they weren't Bitcoin miners. They weren't in the trenches repairing miners and blowing out dust and dealing with power shutdowns and internet connectivity. They just hired people like us to set up mining operations, and it's obviously scaled exponentially. So back in the day, having a petahash of power was kind of a big deal, which was like 100 S9 miners. Now you can have a petahash of power in your basement with 4 Bitmain miners. So now you're into terahashes of power, and obviously we're up to 800. So there's major players in the field, and it's really kind of pushed the little guy out.
Yeah, it's fascinating as well because the little guy of the kind of people I knew originally who got into this, who had like I think they were Antminer S7s or something like that.
Yeah, S7s, S9s. Yeah,
and the kind of power that they were generating, it was great for the UK because even though the cost of energy was quite high, it generated a lot of heat. So they were actually using them for the central heating systems of the house. So it kind of worked out not too bad. But
yeah, absolutely. S7s, when they first came out, they were actually kind of like a box fan, on medium. They weren't really that loud. The second generation was the S9s. Actually, it was S3s were like box fan quiet, and the S7s were a little louder. The S9s were like a fighter jet. They were ridiculous for mining, and then the S9s. And it's only recently that like Luxor Mining, and there's a whole bunch of other companies where you have full control over your rig, where you can literally, people used to overclock their rigs to try and make more Bitcoin. But now the goal is to underclock your rigs to not eat up as much electricity, as well as you can actually keep your fan speed below 50% or down to 40%, where if you actually wanted to heat your house or heat your garage, you don't have the wife screaming at you to get rid of that shrieking noise 24 hours a day.
Because I guess that's the other thing. A lot of people don't realize that the noise that crypto mining rigs make, I'd describe it as kind of if anyone has listened to like DJI drones or whatever, when you
Mm,
hear them lifting off,
yep.
just imagine a bunch of those next to your skull, and that's probably not that far removed from what it kind of
Yeah, that's a
feels like.
very good analogy. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
I
And
mean,
go ahead.
no, I was just going to mention. I mean, I know we're kind of Bitcoin centric, but that's what was nice about Ethereum mining, which was all based on GPUs. So you could mine Ethereum or anything based on the Ethereum blockchain, all the other altcoins and such, and you didn't have they weren't ASIC miners. So you could actually mine quietly. It's still cache intensive. You still needed the space for the racks. You still needed airflow, but you didn't have the shrieking Bitmain or What's Miner or all the other manufacturers. Bitcoin mining is noisy.
So what's the legislative position now? Because I remember New York went through a stage where it felt like anything to do with Bitcoin, you needed a Bitcoin license in some way, and they were very, very restricted. I'm not.
Yes, yeah.
I guess
So I mean,
that
initially, the heyday of all the ICOs, the New York State was very forward in trying to protect the individual and protect the consumer, and so all the exchanges that were initially in New York, the so-called financial capital of the world, which London could argue, or Singapore, or Hong Kong.
Mhm.
But yeah, all the crypto companies fled because it was there were no definitive rules, and so Gary Lawson, I forget, there was years of hearings about what to do, and they finally came out with a bit license, which was very expensive. It was 20 grand, and you needed lawyers to even be allowed to operate some type of crypto operation in the state of New York. So yeah, it was really, things were on hold here for almost 2 straight years until they came up with that bit license, and then even then, no one wanted to touch all the exchanges, Kraken, and they everyone pulled out of New York.
Mhm.
It was just it was not crypto friendly. And it's kind of continued. It's gotten a little better, but there was still, bans on Bitcoin mining because it was a waste of electricity. I was, New York Times had an article, and I was on the front page of it. Is Bitcoin mining a waste of electricity or what? But it's a little better now. But there's still a lot of small communities where people heat their houses. There's still a number of Bitcoin mining operations. Obviously up near Messina, New York, there was a big aluminum Alcoa plant which has like 80 megawatts of power. That's a pretty big operation up there. Um, some people did try to spin up some of the old coal burning plants down near the Finger Lakes in New York, which immediately, drew the ire of the environmentalists and the conservationists and everyone else. And they were, either put on hold or shuttered or allowed to operate by paying massive fees. So it's things are better. It's there's now clarity, and with the regulation, but the regulations are onerous when you could just go to the next state over and not have to deal with what New York presents in terms
Yeah.
of rules and
I wonder
regulations for crypto mining.
what's the kind of sentiment federal wise now with the new president? Is that having an impact or an effect? Do you think?
Yeah, definitely. It's a crypto friendly. Well, again, I say crypto. People have finally kind of looked at Bitcoin as a digital currency. Ethereum has always been gas for the blockchain to produce contracts. Ethereum was never. I know this is a huge segue, but Ethereum was never a cryptocurrency. Bitcoin was a cryptocurrency, and so the current administration, Trump and his sons and his grandson, they keep talking about a digital reserve, and I think we're finally in the place where the United States might truly, on a national level, finally embrace what Bitcoin brings, in terms of a store of value and real world use cases. And, I think it's very promising, in 2025.
Because I'm seeing more and more about state based reserves in some way, where they're talking about different states having a reserve holding in crypto in some way, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, there's about 25 or 27 different states, that have it on their dockets with the legislative powers and such, and they're considering, maybe using Bitcoin as a store of value or a store of reserve. It was kind of big news about 5 years ago when states started saying that you can pay your taxes with Bitcoin. And I think that had a little bit to do with El Salvador and some of the other countries in the world that recognize Bitcoin as a currency. I think that was the catapult.
I guess that's the other side. So El Salvador, I think it was this week, there was a big announcement. I'll go dig out. I think they've caved to the pressure of the International Monetary Fund, where El Salvador was one of the very few countries around the world where Bitcoin was legal tender, so it could be used for making payments and this kind of thing. And I believe they're just changing something now, and I guess it's the IMF have put pressure on. So we'll see where it goes. I noticed Annie's put a camera on, so I'm guessing she's got a question for you. Is that right, Annie?
I have two questions, actually. Can you hear me? You can, I hope. So the first question is, what is the difference between the power that comes from all this Bitcoin mining compared to, let's say, Amazon data warehouse, for example? Because, they're basically cloud technology, meant that they have to have all these virtual machines somewhere in the data warehouse, sort of thing. So I'm imagining the Bitcoin mining is kind of similar, just doing two different things. Second question is, with DeepSeek coming out in the AI, which meant that lower power generation and all that sort of stuff, how is that intersection between AI and Bitcoin mining? How do you see that?
I can take the first part.
Go for it. I'm comfortable with the second part.
Yeah, it's a very good question. Bitcoin mining was kind of demonized as a waste of electricity and a waste of power. But now that it's being embraced with real world use cases, there are small data centers that are using Bitcoin miners, which are ASIC specific. They can only do one thing: mine Bitcoins. We talked before about Ethereum mining, which was GPU and servers, which is a similar data set to what you can do with AI and what you can do with servers like at Amazon Farms, and everyone that has right now. We're using Zoom that's hosted in a data center that sucks electricity. Everybody that posts pictures on Facebook or it all ties back to a data center. Just a Bitcoin data center is Bitcoin specific, whereas these AI data centers or the Amazon data centers are, they're all massive power consumers, and so it was always, our argument when people were like, Bitcoin's a waste of electricity. I'm like, well, you're watching Netflix shows on your telephone and you're sharing cat videos on your phone, and that all goes back to a data center, and that's actually not functional in a real society. It's superfluous to mankind living, so I think that there's right now there's a race for very cheap electricity. There's a race for data centers. Just in the past 6 months, some of these Bitcoin mining data centers that have been set up are being bought out by the Amazons and the AI and the DeepSeek type people, because it's not the equipment. When you're building out a Bitcoin mining operation or a data center, you're talking about all the transformers and all the cables and tying into the grid to access the 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 megawatts of power. There's so much more. It's almost equal the amount of money to set up the power and the airflow and everything else you need for a data center as it is the cost of the per se miners and or servers in a data center. So the Bitcoin miners, that whether they have a small pocket mining operation or a medium, large, or extra large, that they're ideal because Bitcoin miners always chase the cheapest power. And right now it's great at 100K. Everyone's making money mining Bitcoin, but when Bitcoin crashed down to 13K and 3K years ago, and you literally turned off your miners because they weren't. You could be mining on speculation, just burning cash, hoping the price would go back up. But so the Bitcoin miners really paved the road and built out some major centers. Even down in Texas where it's brutally hot, but that they're still building data centers down there. With air conditioning and airflow. So to your question, there's becoming more and more of a crossover, I think, with AI, DeepSeek, Amazon, and Bitcoin mining operations, because they kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, it's probably a nice segue to pick up on that as well. For those who don't know, I'll try and put a view on this as well. That the nature of the computation in AI is different to the nature of the computation in crypto mining. So in crypto mining, it's all about solving very complex algorithms, which are computationally complex, and you use dedicated mining rigs. So that might be dedicated GPUs or whatever that are often optimized and are run at very high speed and high performance to come up with answering a very single-minded question in a way. AI is kind of similar in a way, but it's solving a different problem. So crypto mining is solving a computationally complex puzzle, whereas AI is gathering statistics. And I don't want to dismiss the value of AI because it's incredibly powerful, but AI is ultimately the application of complex statistic and mathematical models, whether that's large language models or whatever. It does use a lot of electricity in AI, and that's where it's interesting with DeepSeek, as Annie mentions, which appears to be the first implementation of something that isn't as computationally as complex. So this is why I think NVIDIA, who are one of the major chipset manufacturers for microchips for AI things, their share price went down when DeepSeek was announced, because DeepSeek said this doesn't need to have such powerful computers type thing. So I think that the purpose of the computes in Bitcoin and other crypto mining is different to AI, but the resources consumed in AI computers is still significant. The other thing as well, I'm seeing a lot in the UK, where there's a lot of data centers being built, and the two challenges that they're having is finding sites that they can access a large amount of electricity and large amount of water. Because when you generate a lot of heat from your computations, and this is the same with crypto mining, you need a way of cooling it down. That usually uses water as well, which is where in the UK there's lots of data center applications going in at the moment, because it's the next big thing. So I don't know, Annie, does that sufficiently answer both of the questions?
Yes, you have. Because it's just that I just attended the intersection of AI and blockchain conference in Oxford on Friday.
Okay.
So that is quite an interesting thing. And of course, the other thing that was quite top agenda was AI agent.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that it will eventually becomes like, with blockchain, you will have something like a large language modeling, the LLM sort of thing, but it can help you to resolve what you want to do. Like you can ask it to change it from Bitcoin to Ethereum or something, or try to ask it to book your plane ticket. And then I said to one of the speakers, well, not every country or every company is taking bitcoins or cryptocurrency, and he basically said, well, they can build the AI agent to help you translate the cryptocurrency to fiat currency, and then buy your plane ticket.
You can certainly, I mean, that's the whole idea of what's known as a agentic AI. But it's effectively an AI agent that sits on your phone or your laptop and acts as your personal assistant kind of thing. But the nature of how AI works and how crypto works are somewhat different. So for those who are into statistics, if I remember correctly, hashing and crypto mining is deterministic, which means there's only one answer. If you throw a load of different computers the same question, it will come up with the same answer, which is the solving of a cryptographic puzzle. So it's a deterministic model, whereas a lot of AI with large language models is stochastic, which means it comes up with a range of values, and they might differ every time you run the same algorithm. You might get different answers, which is causing a lot of interest in the financial services. With if you use AI models for making decisions, how do you prove to the customer that you made the right decision if the decision potentially changes? But that's going off track from this a little bit at the moment. But coming back to the whole crypto piece, I think you're right, Annie, that you could use AI to help you make decisions about where to buy crypto, but you wouldn't use it to mine crypto as such. I just want to be clear on that. And I just wanted to add in as well, just been joined by another Gary as well. So I just want to say hello to Gary. I wondered if you want to say hi.
Hey guys, how are you doing?
Gary, I don't think you've been on one of these calls before, but we just generally chat about whatever the audience wants to chat about. We've got a really interesting mix today. We've got Stuart over on the west coast of the US. We've got Thomas in the east coast of the US. Got Gabriella in Spain. So whereabouts in the exciting planet are you based?
Amsterdam.
Amsterdam, okay. And what brings you along today then? To particular interest?
Well, I'm just in general interested in blockchain. I have been looking into some hackathons. I'm now thinking of like attending a hackathon in blockchain from the Near protocol. I have attended previously. I attended a few hackathons as well, like ETH, DAM, and Solana Breakpoint. I think it was called Solana Breakpoint.
Okay.
I have also attended some of the DevConnect and Ethereum Global conferences. So I would say that I'm quite interested in blockchain. Um, I'm also like trying to get a job in blockchain. Currently, I'm just looking for a job. I've been working in Web2 as a data engineer and also DevOps engineer for the past like 5 years or so. Currently, the market is going like very downhill, unfortunately.
Okay.
I think you have heard about that. A lot of people who work in IT are complaining about that, including so many colleagues and ex-classmates. But yeah, well, actually, is any one of you working in blockchain?
I think there's a mixture.
I am.
Yeah, I was going to say, Stuart. In fact, Stuart, great opportunity for you to share a little bit more about your company and what you're doing for those who've not heard it before.
All right. Thomas, I think we've actually met in Dubai, haven't we? Your lips are moving, no sound.
Yes, sir. I think I honestly don't recall where we met, but yes, we have met.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of similar
Consensus
people.
or Miami or Dubai or
Yeah.
one of those.
Yeah, I think it's probably Dubai because of Obadiah is one of your friends. But yeah, let me go into what I do.
Mr. Aiton Jr.
I'm president of Prasaga Foundation, which is a layer one blockchain. It works on POS and POW. we're just about to launch it. We have a test net running privately, but we're going to make it public. We support sharding. We're the first blockchain in the world to actually have true sharding. A lot of them claim it, but they don't do it correctly. I run innovation and development centers worldwide. So I get to see a lot of nascent companies coming in that want grants from us to build on us. So I see lots of different ideas, people from AI to AR to blockchain, everything. So I get a lot of things thrown at me. So does that help you, Gary?
I think
I'm also used to building big data centers because prior to life in Prasaga, I designed data centers for people like Visa and MasterCard. And the average data center for one of them is about $1 billion, of which 70% is on the electrical side. That's the spend. The rest is on the site, the building, and the machines that go in there.
wow.
Electricity is really important to them.
It shows the sheer scale of some of these things as well. And as Annie was alluding to before, with the growth of AI, there's definitely more and more of that going on. So fascinating stuff. So hopefully for the other Gary, the answer was yes, there are people here who work in the blockchain space. I was a technology consultant who focused around blockchain for about 8 years. And it's interesting, I always try to stop talking about crypto and actually talk more about blockchains and distributed ledgers, because I always felt crypto is just a distraction because everyone's busy looking at the charts, looking at the numbers going up and down, and not actually looking at what's evolving with the technology type thing. And I guess we've got JT on as well. I don't know if JT wants to say hi, because I would say he's a kind of a blockchain guy as well. That fair, JT?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Here I am listening. Hi, everyone.
He's keeping very quiet. JT's one of the great people who's been with us for a while, and in the last 5 minutes usually comes up with some incredible, has anyone heard about? It's usually some major mind-blowing things. So.
I've just been busy today. Yesterday I did something very stupid. So I was using one of these AI codes helpers, I was just testing it and seeing how good it is. I don't know if you guys heard of Cursor, but it has integrated some quite amazing AI capabilities. Yeah, I was really impressed until he gave me an instruction, and it was late. I was really tired. Yeah, and I mean, it has Claude 3.5 integrated. You can choose several AIs to help you, but Claude is 3.5 is probably the best one to help programmers to code. Yeah, you actually can create like an AI agent in 2 days with the help of it. Any AI agent basically. So I was testing and then he gave me an instruction because I couldn't install Solana on my local host.
You didn't go give it kernel privileges, did you?
No, but no, you need to install and you need to basically, I choose to actually use a separate window to do it. I don't give it permission, yeah. And then he gave me an instruction to delete a map directory that I had, and he started to delete. I didn't even look at the switches because I was just trusting it, and he deleted like a ton of projects that I had set up there. I was so pissed off. So I had to basically get some tools and try to do some disk recovery. And that's what I've been doing since yesterday. Quite a funny weekend.
What's that famous Linux command? rmrf/a/something, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Don't remove stuff. Don't follow advice for everyone. Don't follow any instruction from any AI tool that is helping you to remove directories or delete files, because they are still not reliable. I was just like, it is relaxed weekend. I was just doing some stuff and that's it. I did it without verifying. It was just me being stupid, really.
Yeah, and JT illustrates something we were talking about cybersecurity last week as well. Don't do anything when you're tired, because then you make
Yeah,
mistakes.
I didn't follow. No, actually, I wasn't tired. I was just too relaxed. The weekend, I was not even thinking. So
there we go. So Gary, we've got a mixture of people, from people who are experts in the crypto mining, in developing their own blockchain platforms, and everything else. In terms of the job opportunities, I agree it's quite a mixed bag at the moment. I think the industry is going through a consolidation, and what I tended to notice, because I've seen this happen about 3 times now, is that the opportunities grow with the number of new projects. The number of new projects grow with crypto prices, even though it shouldn't. So when crypto's going up and everyone gets excited, the startups tend to be able to get investment easier, which means they then spend loads of crazy money through an ICO or something. So
yeah, it's a bit more complex than that, Gary.
Yeah,
I think we discussed humans are greedy, so it's all about exploiting that greediness in humans, So last week when there was that big dump, they basically, the bots, whoever is running these bots, liquidated about $5 billion worth of, it was mainly longs, So it's all about making money, and not many people are looking at technology. I actually had an interesting conversation these last 3 days with people that are actually focusing mainly on the narratives, which is, look, people are making things that people want to use. Otherwise, meme coins will not be what they are if people don't like that stuff, AI agents, people are trying, they think it's great, but majority is really bullshit. It's just ChatGPT and Eliza OS behind, it's just mainly chatting, so there's not much advancement in that. Yes, there is big advancement in AI, okay, don't get me wrong, but it's not by crypto or blockchain companies, The big advancements are from the traditional big AI companies or from traditional technology giants. We've been doing that for quite some time, So it will continue this year, in my opinion, and someone actually told me, do you want to make money or do you want to make technology? That's the question I got yesterday, And that's the big question to everyone.
I was going to open it up a little bit, really, that for everybody to welcome your thoughts on it, that I see it every few years that everyone chases the latest hype. And so originally, a few years ago, it was crypto. And then we kind of, is crypto just not of interest now and everyone's going for AI? Because it's as though everyone's putting the letters AI in a business case in order to raise funding these days.
It was the same in 2012 to 14 on the first cycle of AI. Exactly the same. So, and what astonishes me the most is that people know that's when something that is stupid, but they go because there's a lot of money coming to it and they don't want to miss the opportunity. So I give you an example, okay? CZ, ex-Binance, he's still the owner of Binance, is like 2 days ago, he posted something about an educational token called test, and he actually said, hey, this is really just a test. Token was created, and I was giving some advice to these guys and explain it. And guess what? 1 hour later, there was a token being launched called test. It reached 500 million market cap in less than 48 hours. And Binance had to list, and majority of top exchanges had to list it, because when it reaches a certain market cap, all of them will do it because they don't want how they make money, transactions, right? So it's a policy that they all have to actually list them something, if of course it's not dodgy. So that shows really that people are just they know it's stupid. It's not even a proper token. It was a test token from education project, and people start to buy it. And I was like, this defines really where the market is today. Okay, it's as simple as that. People just looking for an opportunity to make money, and they're not gonna put money on great tech, and this could be great for the future, and this, is gonna have huge potential. Some do, yeah, but the majority, I would say more than 97, 95, 97% are just looking for the quick buck, and that means not just traders and investors. I'm talking about retail as well.
JT, I think what you're doing is you're confusing the retail market with commercial market. Retail are just going to go in there to make money, speculate. If it does 10x, I'm wonderful. But the money, the venture money, that's going to follow trends, and that's firmly in AI at the moment, although no one is, well, they're starting to pull back here in Silicon Valley simply because no one's able to demonstrate a return on investment. And that's something that you have to have when you're investing as a VC, an ROI. So they're not seeing it on AI at the moment.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. But it's not just retail, yeah? It's also traders. So the majority of market.
Well, define a trader.
A trader is someone that is constantly on the screen just trading crypto, yeah?
Yeah,
just
but
buying, selling.
that can be retail, That's some guy who got laid off. He's 55 years old and he's playing the market.
Whatever it is, there's plenty of different kind of traders. Yeah, you talk about weekend traders. I call them weekend traders. It's true, there's a lot of them. Yeah, but there's also guys who are professional traders. Yeah, and those are constant. There's the biggest move on the markets today is not retail. Retail goes for meme coins, and when they come, the actual meme coin is already at a certain level that a trader doesn't enter. Yeah, that's retail. Correct. Always enters later. So it's not them that are pushing all of these tokens up. It's actually traders and whoever has liquidity. Yeah, and there's many funds with large liquidity. They just invest in secondary markets. Yeah, so
right, but you're also dealing with the pump and dump crowd as well, because they're looking
everything
for
in crypto is pump and dump, so that the VCs can exit their investments. Right. So it's no different today. It's exactly the same thing. So retail spotted that they were the exit liquidity for VCs, and they stopped entering in projects that have investment from VCs. And they start to go where they think they can make fair launches, anything that doesn't have VC, that's where you see retail today. Very rarely you see retail entering a project now, because it's very easy to track those wallets. If you go to any new project that is being what people call pumped, if you track it down, there's a few tools that shows you that they are bots or they are bundlers. It's only those, like not only, but about more than 95% is on those pumped coins. It actually is being tracked, and they know that these are bots or bundlers, people that started really the token, and they create a bundler that has like hundreds of wallets, So
yeah, but can you please tell us what's the name of this tool?
Yeah, there's one for Solana. Let me search. Okay, I can't remember the name, but I can tell you.
Sure, thanks.
I guess while you're digging around on that, JT, to pick up on the point that Stuart was making about AI and the VCs not seeing any return on it. Do you think, Stuart, that's a classic example of the Gartner hype cycle, where we're going through the peak of inflated expectations right now, and there's kind of like going to be the trough of disillusionment where people realize actually it's a lot harder to make money out of this than you'd imagine because there's not actually a business case?
I think yes and no.
Yeah.
I think what you're seeing is that the AI companies are seeing their pricing is incorrect. From the enterprise point of view, the ability to use AI yes, they're seeing the use cases and they're seeing the benefits, but they're taking the wrong approach. It's like, oh, let's get an AI agent in there and we can fire 15 staff. We don't need the call center in India anymore. We can fake the voices, I mean, make it sound English or American. So they're downgrading customer service is the first place that they're starting to attack. So for enterprise, yes, it does have a ROI. Whether that ROI sticks in later years as people get disgruntled with the service, I don't know. Probably not, because people get used to things. The consumer does anyway. But from a pure investment point of view, they're not seeing the ROI.
Because I think that reflects it exactly. So for those who aren't familiar with it, Gartner, who are an IT analyst company, but they do a series of what they call hype cycle reports. And
Yes.
I've just pulled up the hype cycle for AI 2024, so it's a few months out of date now. And what they actually do is they break out AI into all different bits of it about what they mean about it. And what they argue is that with any new technology, you go through this cycle. First of all, you get this trigger of a new idea, early adopters, gets really, really exciting. And then businesses start investing in it. This is the point at which you get what they call a peak of inflated expectations. So this is where companies are spending loads of money, generally on press releases to say that they're doing stuff, well, in whatever the subject is, whether it's blockchain, AI, or whatever. Then they actually try and turn that money into something that generates revenue and is an actual business case. And this is where you rapidly go into this trough of disillusionment where it's always a lot harder than it looks. But then gradually over time, it kind of emerges again. And it's fascinating because this model seems to work for most technologies. And I'm seeing it in AI at the moment. And I don't know, Annie, you were at the conference the other day. Did they make any comments about where they think AI and that is in terms of this hyping and that?
I don't think so, but there was a lot of concern about what it would affect for people in the future. So it's the ethical concern more than it is just a hype.
So is that more in terms of the risks of AI and using it for automated decision making and treating customers fairly and the risk of bias and that kind of thing? Okay.
And the big corporations become monopoly rather than so the control went over to too much to the monopoly sort of thing, like they are the one that take all the control. And of course, people tend to think that company would keep their workforce because they can reskill them to do something more creative, because that's what human is built for. If all the if all the repeatable task is being automated, then humans can be free to do more problem solving, more creative thinking, and that sort of thing. But unfortunately, a lot of corporations, that is not how they operate. Unless, of course, Stuart has a different idea, because obviously, you're at a different level in many of these organizations.
Well, I think you've got a difference between what may be the English outlook and the American outlook. In England, I think there's employment laws that keep people there as long as possible, whereas in the States, you're an employee at will, and therefore we can get rid of you whenever we want to for any reason. And saving on the bottom line is a good reason to get rid of you. So I hear a lot of people who don't know about AI and give presentations about it, talk about the ethical values of AI, which to me is bullshit. I think at the end of the day, it's another tool. It's a pencil, a ruler, whatever, and you use it in business how you want to use it. and jobs will be created in other places to do other things. Simple as
Yeah,
that.
absolutely true. But the people who are basically talking about the AI ethics, I think they're more like these are usually people who have studied psychology or something like this. They are not necessarily coming from the STEM field, if I may say so.
I agree. I mean, some of them are from, they can't get a job in Starbucks, I guess.
Exactly, true, true.
But I think, in fairness as well, because I've been in this space for many years, and ultimately, I keep saying to people, right, technology is generally about automation, and it's about automating things in some way. And when you look at the word automate, it actually means, or automaton is replace man with machine. That's the nature of it. And so technology will result in job losses, and it will result in new jobs coming into being as well. That's just the nature of it. And I keep arguing with people that AI won't take your job, but somebody using AI probably will. Depending upon the nature of the job, of course. So I think that's just the reality. And that's why I was interested, Danny. You tend to find when people talk about ethics and AI, there's different dimensions. There's the job prospect is one dimension, certainly. But
Yeah, that's true.
There is
people,
several
yeah,
dimensions, like you said. So I agree with what you guys are saying. There's a lot of people talking bullshit and they don't know what they're talking about. But people that usually are working the kind of ethics, it doesn't really matter what type of ethics. They understand what is right and what is wrong. Yeah, better than most of us. Okay, so they don't need to really be AI engineers. But one of the things that people need to understand is not really about the job. So I can give you one example of many. What do you guys think? Yeah, if OpenAI, one of the engineers arrived one day in the morning, one of the core engineers, and saw that the core code of GPT changed itself, updated the routine itself, so in fact became sentient, and they don't know yet what to do about it. Yeah. Now imagine if that gets released out there. This is the ethics, the ethics, there needs to be controls on what AI companies can do and things that they should not do. Yeah, they should not release any code base when there is something they do not understand. Yeah, it's because if it gets out there, it can be uncontrollable. It's quite scary, some of these things. I don't get scared about, you're right, Gary, there's going to take people's jobs or somebody that is doing a job better, but can actually, now, the way it is today, can actually take somebody else's job in certain areas as well. Okay?
Yes.
So there's a lot of conversations about ethics and what should be the focus on those ethics instead of talking a lot of the bullshit that we see out there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But on the other hand, man, um, there is something called prompt engineering as well, and it is actually becoming a thing. There are even courses from prompt engineering. It's all about how you write your prompts, because, yeah, if you write your prompts in a good way, then you can get quite a lot of good content as well from the AI tool that you're using, and vice versa, of course.
I'm going to offer
people have. Go ahead, Gary.
Sorry, I rarely get on my soapbox about prompt engineering, and I fear I'm going to be proved wrong on this in the long run, and I accept that. But I'll stake my line in the sand that prompt engineering, exactly as Gary is saying, is about changing your prompts in order to get the better result. So that is a trainable thing, right? So that should be something you can get the AI to do for you. So you should actually be getting the AI to be writing the better prompts, not the human. I keep arguing that prompt engineering is probably going to be the shortest lived career ever, because you should be able to automate it. You should be able to use machine learning to improve prompt engineering.
I give you 1 year or less. I know for quite a few companies are working on there's no reason for actually have prompt engineering.
Yeah.
You just speak. You just speak to the AI. You don't even need to write. You just say I want X, Y, and Z, and the AI will optimize and give you options. That's it.
And the other thing I'd argue as well is that prompt engineering is not you teaching the AI to give you better results. It's the AI teaching you how it wants you to ask the questions. So think of it like that. It's a bit more profound. Sorry, Stuart, you were going to say something, I think.
No, I was going to say
That's
much
true.
along the lines of what you were saying. In a couple of years, we'll have the Institute of Prompt Engineering set up. And
Yeah,
you'll be
that's
able
true.
IPE after
Don't
your
go
name.
there, Stuart.
I just know that this is going to be one of those trends that I carry the risk of being so unbelievably wrong on. But I accept it. But
No, you're not going to be wrong, because
No.
AI is all about you interfacing in an easy way to get what you need to get. Yeah. And it's going to be you, majority is going to be you talking to the AI, not actually writing anything. Yeah. I'm talking in terms of consumer. In an office, you might not want everyone talking, so there'll still be some forms of interaction with people typing on the keyboard. But the great majority is going to be really, especially consumer-facing applications.
So I wanted to just bring this session back to crypto and blockchains and the main core topic really for the last few minutes, because I'm conscious we've had a really interesting discussion about AI, and it keeps coming back to the same thing. It's overhyped, and there's a risk of jobs, and there are ethical things. They're all very important. But I just wanted to ask you if anyone's got any final things, just in the last couple of minutes. Anything else going on in the crypto space that we think we need to be aware of? Any news, developments, or anything anyone thinks?
It's not that it is development, but more of a question. So, how do you guys think that I can, let's say, land on a job in blockchain? My experience in IT, mainly Web2, is mainly with the Azure cloud. I have done bachelor's in computer science and master's in data science. I had experience mostly with Python, SQL, PowerShell, and C Sharp. I had some experience as well with JavaScript and jQuery back then, and some TypeScript, but I didn't use like that much of a web development programming languages, so to speak. And I kind of noticed that um, I need to learn Solidity or Rust if I want to do programming on the SVM chains, such as Solana or Sui. But the majority of the blockchains are still using the EVM, which is Solidity. I was thinking of like kicking off with some Dune Analytics dashboards, because basically they're using SQL. So I can build some SQL, some dashboards over there with SQL. But I don't really know how to approach everything. I've done some crypto zombies in the past, in 2020, I think, but that was so long ago.
Maybe, Gary, I'm going to throw it out there. Any suggestions from people if you're looking for a role in blockchain or crypto?
I can give very quickly. I can give quickly. Okay, so we need to focus on learning these technologies. Okay. You need to decide first which one: Solidity, Ethereum ecosystem, Rust. You get Solana, Near, and quite a few others. Yeah, and then you have Move, which is used in a couple of others blockchains. Okay, there's more, of course, but then use a tool like Cursor, which is a sort of Visual Studio, but with integration with AI, like I was explaining earlier.
I know it,
and that
I'm using it.
So that will help you to learn quicker how to interact with those, with those blockchains, and you start to understand. And then, if you really want to get a job, you just need to go into the usual job boards in blockchain and crypto, and apply for jobs or put your CV out there. I suggest I don't know how far they are, but someone told me about an app called Bondex, which connects people looking for jobs and people that are having job opening in blockchain and crypto. I don't know how good it is, to be truly honest, but someone made me aware of that.
So, Gary, some really good suggestions there about getting to know technology. The other thing is that I've always found it's easier to recruit people who've got experience, and you've always got that difficult thing of how do you get experience, and that's the difficult bit. So, quite often, if you can be working for a company already and get yourself the experience whilst working for them, that's actually
Oh, and participate in hackathons. When you see hackathons up there, then you
Yeah.
connect more with other programmers. Okay?
yeah.
That's what I'm doing. Well, I already had like 5 or 6 of almost 6 years of experience in Web 2, and I have done some hackathons in Web 3, but that's about it.
Cool. Well, it sounds like you're heading in the right direction, which is good stuff. Really sorry, folks. We're going to have to close this off now. The hour's flown by while we've ended up talking about AI as much, if not more, than on the crypto things. But I hope that was really useful. Thank you, everyone, for your participation, your involvement, and everything. Do come and join us again next week for a future session. Thanks very much for joining, and have a great morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are in the world. Have a great day.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Cheers, everyone.
Thank
Cheers,
Pleasure
bye.
meeting y'all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So quite a wide range of topics discussed this week, both in the crypto space and with the wider space of AI as well. Do hope you enjoyed that. Do remember to click on like, subscribe, and come along to a future session. Have a great day.